Hi everybody, it's Natalie Ellis here with ESTEEM Counseling and Consulting Services. I hope you all are doing well. I know it's been a few weeks since I've been on Instagram Live. Busy doing lots of things and primarily and take care of myself. But just wanted to get back in the swing of things with Ask the Therapist with Natalie. And tonight I wanted to speak on ways to finding your voice. That came up several times in sessions this week with a few of my clients, and I thought, oh, what a great topic to start off with. So we are going to talk about 5 things that you can do to find your voice. And so what came about is oftentimes with clients, with people, we often lose our voice after a trauma, after disappointments, after struggles, after letdowns, after being shut down, right? We often lose our voice. Even in our upbringing at times, in our childhood. I had a client yesterday just tell me how she struggled with speaking up for herself because in her childhood, she did not have a voice growing up. She couldn't express how she felt about things because it was dismissed. It was not validated. It was ignored because she was a child. And so many times children feel that they don't have a voice. And again, depending on your upbringing and your support system and your tools, these children become adults and they go into their adult life often not having a voice. And then life happens, right? Disappointments, trauma, things just happen. And so I wanted to just talk a little bit about just different things that we can do to find your voice, okay? So 5 steps to finding your voice. So one of the things I wanted to bring up, voice in terms of our outer voice as well as our inner voice, right? Our inner voice is our gut, making sure we listen to it as well, and being able to speak with our outer voice when something does bother us, to be able to speak up about it, right? So both our inner voice and outer voice. So the first thing I would say is to give yourself permission to exist in this space. Right? Oftentimes when we're experiencing difficulties, when we're experiencing trauma, disappointments, we're often wanting to hide away. We're often wanting to shut down, to disappear, to just be invisible. And when we are wanting to be invisible, then that also makes our voice invisible, right? And so one thing I would say the first step is, or one thing is to give yourself permission to exist in this space. Because you have the right to exist in this space, whatever that space is for you, right? So giving yourself permission to exist. The second thing I will say is take time to be still, to meditate, okay? Whether it's through prayer, whether it's through meditation, but taking time to be still, quiet out the noise, right? Again, oftentimes when we are in a situation of distress, of disappointment, of let down, we often look to others to make us feel better. We often look to others to validate us, to lift us up, right? And in looking to others for a lot of these things, we often dismiss our own voice, our inner voice, as well as our outer voice. And so taking time to be still and quiet the outside noises, okay? The third thing I would say, acknowledge what you're going through. Put words to it. Acknowledge what you're going through and put words to it, right? I am going through this, right? Because again, oftentimes what happens when we go through things, we're just finding ourselves in it and we kind of put it away because it's uncomfortable, it's distressing, it's disappointing, there's lots of emotions attached to it and it's too much. We just kind of tuck it away somewhere. We don't want to deal with it, right? And so it's important that people acknowledge, that we acknowledge what you're going through. That helps in finding your voice because it gives it gives a voice to the experience versus dismissing the experience. It gives a voice to the experience, and that's very important. Okay. The fourth thing, acknowledge what you're feeling. Put words to your emotions. Right. So again, we go through things, we feel things, but then we don't often put words to those feelings. The feelings is attached to different things in our body, right? And it's uncomfortable, and we don't often want to deal with it, right? And it's attached to our actions as well. But so putting words to those feelings. I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry. This happened, and I'm angry about this, right? So it gives voice to the experience. It gives voice to the emotion. Because when you can do that for yourself first, then that also gives you permission. Again, permission to say it out loud. Because that would be then the last thing, vocalizing it. Vocalizing your needs, vocalizing your concerns to whomever. Right? And so being able to then put words to it. But in order to put words to your concerns and your needs, you have to know that it's acknowledged. You have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge it as a concern. You have to acknowledge it as a feeling that's uncomfortable or whatever that feeling is. To then say, hey, this is my concern. These are my needs. Okay? So those would be the things that I would say are some beginning steps for individuals to find their inner voice. Find their voice, inner voice and outer voice. Give permission to exist. Give yourself permission to exist in this space. Take time to be still. Quiet the outside noise, whether it's through meditation or prayer. 3, acknowledge what you're going through. Put words to it. 4, acknowledge what you're feeling. Put words to your feelings. And 5 would be vocalize your needs and concerns. Okay, so those would be 5 things that I would say are ways to begin finding your voice. And again, these are not easy things to do, right? And so it's important that if you're finding that you're having a hard time dealing with speaking up for yourself, advocating for yourself, listening to your gut, if you're having a hard time doing that, feel free, seek professional help, seek counseling, seek support from professionals, okay? And I wanted to also talk about my book, How to Stay Mentally Healthy, a guided workbook to self-awareness and self-discovery. So again, this is also there's lots of activities in here, so this is also a step to healing for individuals. I wrote this book with clients in mind, with activities of things that they can do to begin the work towards healing, and a lot of that work comes with self-awareness and self-exploration. So I strongly encourage individuals to definitely get the book. It's on Amazon, and I will include a link on there for you all to get the book. So those are some things that I would recommend that individuals do to find your inner voice. So thank you so much for joining me this evening, and have a wonderful evening.